Between now and 2030, Indonesia will have 90 million new consumers with considerable spending power, and the country's economy will experience incredibly rapid progress. With an over 270 million population, Indonesia already plays a huge role in the global economy. They are finally leveraging this advantage to build one of the strongest economies the world has seen. In the coming years, we will witness a new dawn for Indonesia. What are their plans and why should you pay attention to Indonesia right now? Let's unravel the details together. Indonesia's economy surged impressively in the 1980s and 1990s, but it faced significant challenges after the 1997 financial crisis, leading to significant political changes. Presently, the country sustains an average growth rate of 5%, positioning itself as an upper-middle-income country and aiming for high-income status by 2045. While Indonesia remains part of the developing world, it has a rich and diverse history. This nation, abundant in resources, holds the title of being the world's largest Muslim-majority nation, the third largest democracy, and the fourth most populous country, with over half of its population being youths between age 18 and 39. For years, Indonesia operated somewhat invisibly on the global economic stage. Its economy and politics had last grabbed global attention during the turbulence of the 1990s, marked by the collapse of a crony capitalist system amidst the Asian financial crisis, signifying the end of Suharto's 32-year-long dictatorship. But now, Indonesia finds itself back in the limelight, playing a strategic role between America and China. Like India and other emerging markets, it's adapting to a changing global landscape where globalization and Western dominance are diminishing. Beneath the surface of cutting-edge electric vehicles and apps used by millions, Southeast Asia's largest economy is steadily gaining more recognition. Ranked the seventh largest emerging market by GDP at purchasing power parity, Indonesia is expected to surpass Germany and Russia by 2024. Its economy is swiftly evolving, propelled by a youthful population and rapid urbanization, which fuel income growth. One significant factor driving this dynamism is the rise of digital services. These services are shaping a more connected consumer market where more than 100 million people collectively spend about $80 billion annually on various things like electronic payments and on-demand trucking apps. This growth in Indonesia's consumer base is unmatched by any other economy except China and India. The spotlight on Indonesia's economy intensifies due to its possession of over a fifth of the world's nickel, a critical element in electric vehicle batteries. Australia is the only other country with similarly extensive nickel reserves. Moreover, Indonesia ranks as the world's third largest source of cobalt, another crucial component. As the Western countries, China and India ramp up subsidies to attract investments in electric vehicles, Indonesia sees another promising opportunity. Its wealth of essential resources for the global energy transition is expected to fuel an economic resurgence and further boost growth. However, natural resources aren't the sole driver of this potential rapid growth. Jakarta, the capital city of Indonesia, has emerged as a thriving hub for new technology firms in Southeast Asia. This development sparks hope that Indonesia's challenging geography, the fact that it's spread across thousands of islands, can be navigated through digital innovation. Among the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, better called ASEAN countries, Indonesia leads in its digital economy. The gross merchandise value (GMV) of Indonesia's digital economy, representing goods sold through platforms like e-commerce, surged from $41 billion in 2019 to $77 billion in 2022. Predictions hint at a continued climb to $130 billion by 2025. This rapid growth during a pandemic speaks volumes about the adaptability and resilience of the Indonesian people. Sustaining this digital economic boom relies on several factors: government-led digital initiatives, the progress of small and medium-sized enterprises (SMEs), and a thriving startup ecosystem. While outsiders may perceive Indonesia as a typical Asian manufacturing or resource-driven exporter due to its growing workforce and natural resources, the reality differs significantly. The country's growth is propelled more by domestic consumption than exports and more by services than manufacturing or resources. Comparatively, back in 1990, when Malaysia was at Indonesia's current income levels, Malaysia's exports as a proportion of its GDP were about twice as high as Indonesia's are today. This highlights Indonesia's reliance on domestic consumption for economic activity. Surprisingly, Indonesia's resource sector contribution to the economy has decreased since 2000 despite rising resource prices. Mining, oil, and gas now account for only 9% of Indonesia's nominal GDP, less than advanced economies like Australia at 16% and Russia, which is 15%. Foreign investors are finding the country increasingly attractive, with the region's youngest population, where 26% are under 15. It boasts a massive consumer market. Additionally, Indonesia's cautious diplomatic approach over time makes it an appealing choice for both Chinese and Western investors who seek opportunities away from intense global scrutiny. Because Indonesia has a long-standing tradition of not picking sides in global conflicts, it attracts investments from both China and the United States. This neutral stance has transformed the nation into a battleground where Chinese and American digital companies and investors compete directly. For instance, CATL, a major Chinese company, is investing $6 billion in a battery project, while the president of Indonesia is pursuing Tesla to invest in the country. Since President Joko Widodo, also known as Jokowi, took office in 2014, substantial investments have been made in infrastructure. The government's efforts resulted in the construction of 16 new airports, 18 ports, 2,100 kilometers of toll roads, and the completion of 36 out of 61 dams. These initiatives significantly enhance Indonesia's competitiveness in the global economy. Indonesia is even rolling out a new golden visa program, aimed at drawing in foreign individuals and corporate investors to give its national economy more boost, according to an announcement from the Ministry of Law and Human Rights released recently. Silmi Karim, the Director General of Immigration, explained that the golden visa offers an extended residence permit lasting from 5 to 10 years in the official statement. Under this initiative, the 5-year visa demands that individual investors establish a company valued at $2.5 million. Meanwhile, for the 10-year visa, a higher investment of $5 million is required. According to the IMD Competitiveness Index, Indonesia's ranking ascended from 44 to 34, marking a 10-point surge, the highest increase globally. It shows that competitiveness isn't solely about GDP and productivity. It depends on efficient infrastructure, robust institutions, and policies fostering sustainable value creation. In 2014, just before Jokowi took office, Indonesia halted the export of unrefined ore, promoting domestic processing of raw materials. This move spiked foreign investment, particularly in metals processing, and compelled foreign investors to invest within Indonesia, contributing significantly to recent growth. The investment scope extends beyond metals processing to manufacturing. On Java Island, housing half the population, a South Korean battery firm and Hyundai began constructing Indonesia's inaugural EV battery cell plant in 2022. The government is keen on enticing Tesla to follow suit by offering land for a large factory in central Java. They've even awarded the first Indonesian golden visa to Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. It was a move made after the government recognized his ability to attract investment to the archipelago nation. And this partnership may also convince other big companies like Tesla to invest in the country. Central Java was specifically offered for the large factory because questions sometimes arise about Indonesia's economic growth, as it has predominantly centered around Jakarta. Jakarta boasts a GDP per capita of around $19,000, whereas Central Java, located about 230 kilometers away, stands significantly lower at less than $3,000 per person. Furthermore, in the more remote Indonesian islands, economic conditions are even harsher, with lower income levels compared to Jakarta or Central Java. However, the digital revolution is contributing to reducing economic inequality by streamlining regulations and incentivizing investments. The surge in e-commerce allows people from various locations to engage in the digital economy. Indonesian e-commerce offers almost everything nowadays. Middle-sized cities with over 2 million people, excluding Jakarta, such as Medan, Bandung, and Surabaya, have experienced an average yearly growth of 7.5% over the past 5 years. Jakarta's growth was slightly lower at 6.3%. Still, President Jokowi has grander aspirations despite Indonesia's consistent 5% growth rate. The country's economic output has grown by 5% annually since the Asian financial crisis, surpassing the global average of 3.6%. But its growth has been overshadowed by faster-growing economies like China, India, and Vietnam. To reach his set goals for the country, President Jokowi is keen on collaborating with other countries. In September 2023, he met with South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol to deepen economic and defense ties between the two nations. During their discussions, both leaders committed to strengthening their strategic partnership in the defense and security sectors. They also pledged to expand collaboration in forward-thinking industries such as electric vehicles, batteries, and smart cities. Also, the country recently kicked off its investment strategy aimed at unlocking $20 billion in funding pledged by global lenders, mainly the United States and Japan. This push aims to speed up Indonesia's shift towards cleaner energy in the power sector. They're urging for prompt disbursement of these funds. Through the Just Energy Transition Partnership, JETP, Indonesia is striving to slash carbon dioxide emissions in its on-grid power sector to 250 million metric tons by 2030. This is a significant drop from the expected business-as-usual emissions, which would exceed 350 million metric tons. So, we need to watch out for Indonesia's economy because its growth has been impressive since 2000, with its economy expanding over sixfold in 23 years and doubling in the last decade. Numerous projections forecast Indonesia to become one of the world's top 3 or 4 economies by 2050, potentially outshining even the USA. This track record of growth earns it a solid 10 out of 10 in the present context. With effective economic management, Indonesia is well on its way to ascend into the global middle class with these resources. But the responsibility raises an important question. Will the prevailing superpowers in the region facilitate or hinder Indonesia's growth? Only time will tell, and the whole world is keenly watching what their answer will be. Thanks for watching. What do you think the future holds for Indonesia? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. See you soon.